I convinced my daughter, Your Honor, to go ahead and put him on child support because mother to mother, your mother, how'd you raise your son? I didn't raise my daughter like this. This was just, I guess, a
I never met you.
It's
the same situation.
I never met my real mother.
It's just you was blessed to get a family to take care of you. I
understand that, but I never met my mother.
From this person to that person to that person.
Judge Lake opens the case of Wilson versus Dowdy. Ms. Wilson is here after a 34-year search to prove the defendant is her daughter's biological father. Shayna Wright sits beside her, bearing a gaping emotional wound from this decades-long denial. Mr. Dowdy acknowledges their brief fling, but insists it's highly unlikely he is the father. He intends to prove it today. The stage is set for a painful confrontation over a lifetime of unanswered questions.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Wilson versus Dowdy.
Ms. Wilson, after a 34-year search, you are here to prove to the defendant that he is your daughter, Shakina Wright's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wright, you say that Mr. Dowdy's paternity denial has left you with a gaping emotional wound and you are desperate to know the truth about your paternity. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For Miss Wilson, this day means everything. She explains it means more for her daughter, wanting Mr. Dowdy to finally take responsibility, something he has refused for decades. He was her first love, she reveals, the first person she fell hard for. They met at a party, and she slept with him that first night because she felt a genuine connection. This wasn't a casual encounter for her. It was the beginning of love.
What I mean by that, Your Honor, is that it means a lot to me, but it means more to my daughter. And I just want Mr. Dowdy to take full responsibility.
And up until now, he has not?
No, ma'am, he has not.
All right.
Your Honor,
so
he was my first love. He was my first love. He was the first person I fell hard in love with.
Judge Lake confirms Mr. Dowdy remembers the sexual relationship. He does, recalling vividly how he asked to taste her red lipstick, sparking a passionate 3-day connection. The judge then asked the critical question, did they use protection? Mr. Dowdy's answer is a simple, stark no. This admission hangs in the air, the unprotected intimacy from decades ago forming the very basis of the painful mystery they are here to solve.
Listen, Mr. Dowdy, you remember having this sexual relationship with Miss Wilson?
Yes, I do.
And so you met her at this party. You have sex with her. Did you use protection?
No, I did. When I first met Barbara, I'll never forget the day. We was sitting like in the living room and she had some red lipstick on.
Ms. Wilson recounts discovering her pregnancy. She called Mr. Dowdy, who was initially happy, promising to send for her and build a life in Connecticut, but he never returned. Judge Lake presses him. Why? He shrugs, offering a feeble, young and dumb as his only explanation. He didn't believe he was the father. Ms. Wilson interjects, convinced he always knew, but simply never wanted the responsibility, abandoning her to raise their child alone.
What was his response?
He was happy. He was, like, okay, I'm gonna send for you. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And, I'm gonna send for you. You're gonna come to Connecticut. And, not knowing he was still living with his parents.
So, Mr. Dowdy, do you remember this conversation when she called to say she was pregnant?
Yeah, I remember that because
Mr. Dowdy claims he did return a year later, but was threatened by a man at her apartment who said she was in Philadelphia. He felt this man could have been the father. Ms. Wilson immediately refutes this, identifying the man as a family member. "We don't do that. That's called incest," she states, dismissing his theory. Mr. Dowdy pleads ignorance, but his excuse for vanishing appears to be crumbling under scrutiny.
And so from there, do you lose touch? How does this happen? He never shows. Your mom would give you the money.
But I did come back. About maybe a year later to go find her. But when I did get there, I went to where she last place I knew she lived, and some dude approached me like, "Oh, she's not here. We don't want you around here. We don't want to have nothing to do with you."
Judge Lake asks why Ms. Wilson didn't pursue him more aggressively. Her answer reveals his deception. He gave her a false last name. He was using Nelson, not Dowdy. He didn't want to be found, Your Honor, she asserts. For 34 years, this simple deception prevented any closure, trapping Shayna in a life of uncertainty, while Mr. Dowdy remained hidden, shielded by the alias he provided during their brief, fateful weekend together.
her father is. What are you telling her?
I told her who her father was when she was old enough to, to recognize
You
or
told
realize.
her it was Mr. Dowdy?
Yes.
And so, Shakina, I want to hear from you. What was it like growing up without? Oh, honey, just take a deep breath and just try to give your honest testimony.
It's okay, I love you.
Yep, just take your time. What was your experience like?
Shayna finally speaks, her voice thick with emotion. She describes the childhood shame of having no father, forced to lie to classmates, sometimes claiming he was dead. "Why did you do me this way? Why me?" she cries, voicing a lifetime of pain and rejection. It was a missing part of her, a constant hardship. Her raw testimony exposes the deep human cost of this 3-decade mystery, silencing the courtroom.
A lot of times when I was a child, I had to go to school and see other kids with their daddy, and they used to ask me, well, where's your daddy? I used to just lie and make up stuff. I would say that he's dead or he lives in another state somewhere. I've been always wondering how he looked, where he was, why did you do me this way?
Mr. Dowdy explains his name confusion, citing his adoption and 2 last names. He claims he was never hiding. Shayna challenges him directly. Knowing he was adopted and had a family, why didn't he step up for her? "You was a healthy human being, that you should stepped up and found your child to give me a better life." She contrasts his blessed upbringing with her own unstable one, demanding accountability.
My Social Security. But come to find out, my biological mother's name was also on my birth certificate, because it took a little while for me to get my birth certificate. But it was never a point that I was running or hiding, but I have 2 last names.
Knowing that you was adopted, why not, because you was adopted, and have your real parent?
The search ended on Facebook. Ms. Wilson searched Leon Nelson, but his picture appeared under Leon Dowdy. She inboxed him, and he called immediately. She confronted him, telling him his daughter was 33 and demanding he step up. Shayna also messaged him, asking if he knew he was her father. His reply was definitive. "Yes, I do. I never denied you. I know you're mine." After decades, he finally acknowledged her.
How did that happen?
I found him on Facebook. I put in Leon Nelson and his picture popped up.
Really?
Like I said, I never knew about Dowdy, but it popped up Leon Dowdy. I said, well, this is his face. I said, where did Dowdy come from? Who is that?
Mr. Dowdy says he was glad to be found. Shayna traveled to Connecticut for their first meeting. She was excited, but her hopes soured upon arrival. He was not in his right mind. Despite her disappointment, she studied him, noting similarities in their walk, stance, and hands. She saw herself in him, a physical resemblance that offered a flicker of validation, even as his intoxicated state damaged the moment.
And you got this call about a young woman, Ms. Wilson says is your daughter, your 30-something-year-old daughter.
To be honest, I was glad to hear. I was glad to know that they found me.
Because I hit him on Facebook too. I said, well, do you know that you're my father? He said, yes, I do. He said, I never denied you. I know you're mine.
Their relationship since has been strained. Shayna says it's a little, but not what it should be, wishing he called more. She reveals he once blocked her on Facebook. He defends himself, saying he unfriended her because he was tired of her provocative pictures. Ms. Wilson counters, accusing him of recently trying to reconnect with her. The conflicting stories and blurred boundaries reveal a deeply complicated and unresolved dynamic between all 3.
And we sat down, we talked, and I was just looking at him trying to see if we looked alike. So I did see similarities in me and him that, yeah, I do look like him. The way he was standing, I said, well, yeah, I stand like that. The way he was walking, I said, I walk like that. I looked at his hands. I said, yeah, we got the same big hands.
Judge Lake asks for their hopes. Mr. Dowdy, seeming confused, admits, she's mine. He acknowledges his mistakes and imperfect fatherhood, but wants to make things right now that he's older. Shayna's hope is simpler, that once they have the results, he will step up and do the right thing moving forward. She knows he can't rewrite the past, but she desperately needs him to claim his role in her future.
Don't have any relationship because I don't get it. What do you want? What are your hopes?
That she's mine.
That she's yours.
Yeah.
You do hope so.
To be honest with you, yeah.
That's all I want is honesty.
Her children are my only grandchildren that I would have.
And what about you?
Yeah, I made some mistakes. I wasn't a perfect father to none of my children.
Judge Lake reads the results. After a tense pause, she delivers the crushing verdict. Mr. Dowdy, you are not the father. Silence and shock follow. Ms. Wilson immediately protests, insisting, "I haven't been with nobody else but him." Shayna, faced with the scientific truth, tells her mother, "You had to be with somebody else." But her mother stands by her story, leaving a profound, unresolved mystery at the heart of their lives.
Were prepared by DNA diagnostics in the case of Wilson versus Dowdy when it comes to 36-year-old Shakina Wright. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dowdy, you are not the father.
This paternity court case wastes no time diving into chaos. Ms. Delaney swears her late lover, David Hairston Jr., fathered her 16-month-old daughter, Joya, but his family isn't buying it. Judge Lake sets the stage. This is Delaney versus Pert. The tension hits instantly as both mothers sit across from each other, glaring. One insists she's fighting for truth. The other insists the claim is all about money. You can feel the generational feud simmering.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This is the case of Delaney versus Perrette.
Thank you, Jerome. Ms. Delaney, you are joined today by your mother, and you both claim that you were a virgin when you met the defendant's late son, David Hairston Jr. However,
Ms. Delaney says she was a virgin before David. Her mother sits proudly, backing her up. But Ms. Pert fires back that her son never mentioned this girl, ever. She insists David would have told her if something real was happening. Ms. Delaney argues he hid the relationship because he was older than even her mother. The entire courtroom gasps as Judge Lake double-checks. Wait, older than your mother? Talk about scandal. The age gap instantly raises eyebrows.
you are certain Mr. Hairston is your child's biological father?
1,000% certain.
$1,000,000%.
I don't
I know
so,
he's the
no,
father
Your
of
Honor.
my granddaughter,
No.
Joya. Yes, he is.
I do not believe it, Your Honor, because he would have told me something of her. He always talked to me. He would have let me know that he was in a relationship with her if he
I
was.
disagree, Your Honor.
When Ms. Delaney describes losing her virginity, Judge Lake can't help but react. She recalls how David refused to pay for a hotel room, so they went to a friend's house instead, with candles and whipped cream. The audience bursts into laughter. "You went all out, huh?" Judge Lake jokes, shaking her head. But this isn't comedy. It's the night Ms. Delaney says changed her life forever. She swears it was love, not lust, that tied them together.
Never heard of
All right, so I want to
someone
understand the
else.
nature of this relationship. Ms. Delaney, tell me, how did you meet Mr. Hairston?
I was walking home where I was living with my mom, and he stopped me and approached me. From there, we met like 30 minutes later, and we went to a mutual friend's house, and then we talked and got to know each other then.
Things get messy quick. Ms. Delaney says their relationship lasted about 4 months, but David's family says they never heard her name once. His sister reveals he used code names for women, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like some kind of dating game. Judge Lake's face says it all, disbelief mixed with judgment. Clearly, this man was playing more than just games. The courtroom chuckles nervously, but you can tell the truth beneath it isn't funny at all.
So you say, no, I'm not paying for this hotel.
Correct.
And he says, I'm not paying either.
Correct.
So what happened?
We then went to the mutual friend's house.
Oh.
And then that's where it took place. He had candles. We did get candles.
Whipped cream and all, Your Honor. She told me they had whipped cream. I'm like, oh, you went all out, huh? How was it?
When Ms. Delaney discovered she was pregnant, it wasn't a romantic moment. It was detective work. Her best friend got her period, but she didn't. "Girl, you pregnant," her friend said. Then her mom, yes, her mom, put it together after getting sick from her favorite pink salmon. "Somebody's pregnant," she declared. Sure enough, it was Miss Delaney. The audience cracks up, but Judge Lake leans forward. "Was he the only man?" she asks. Ms. Delaney insists, yes.
So take me to the day, Miss Delaney, you find out you're pregnant.
I missed my menstrual cycle, but the only reason I knew is because my menstrual comes on the day before my best friend. And she came and asked me for feminine products. And I asked her why you need that. And she said, "Cause my period is on." And I said, "Well, mine's not on." She said, "Well, cause you pregnant."
And Your Honor, I said, something's going on because I just had pink salmon and I love it, but it made me sick to my stomach.
Ms. Delaney explains she only slept with David, period. Her mom nods. She knows her daughter's word, but the judge presses on. Was he there during your pregnancy? Ms. Delaney hesitates, saying he was halfway present, about 50-50. He didn't go to doctor visits, wasn't there for the birth, and didn't sign the birth certificate. David's family looks stunned. They claim he never said a word about this baby. The court's tension level just skyrocketed.
It is your testimony that once you had sex with Mr. Hairston, and that was the first man you've ever had sex with, you did not have sex with anybody else during that time when you were intimate with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
So it is your testimony that during the window of conception, you were only intimate with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and at some point, your mom's testified you moved into a hotel together.
We did.
While you were pregnant?
This was before, while I was.
Ms. Delaney's mother takes the stand with fire. She says she saw David sneaking around, switching cars, pulling up by the mailbox, acting secretive. I knew of him, she says, but not his age. When she found out, she was horrified. That don't look good in the community, she scolds. Judge Lake nods firmly. Clearly, Mama had morals. You can see the pain in her face, though. She feels like she failed her daughter by not stopping it sooner.
Oh, I mean, sorry, you, because the mother claimed she didn't know him.
Correct.
Because
I did not, right. I know of him. All I know was his first name, and I've seen him sneaking. He would change vehicles, come in different cars, pick her up. She'd have to meet him to the mailbox from where we lived. Different stuff. I've seen him in passing, but never met him.
But why was it in passing? I mean, you the mother, when he was pulling up in your daughter's waiting by the mailbox, you know this doesn't look right.
After Joya's birth, Ms. Delaney says David loved his daughter. He called her stinky feet and never denied her. But when he didn't step up financially, she filed for child support. David's family listens in silence as she explains he was scheduled for a court-ordered DNA test, but then he died before it happened. The courtroom falls quiet. The timing is haunting. One day away from the truth, and then he was gone forever.
The whole time through in this pregnancy, after about 5 months.
After Joya was born, did he develop any type of relationship with her?
Said that he believes that this is his daughter. He never denied her being his daughter. He thinks that she looks like him. He called her stinky feet.
And so you felt like the interaction was what you would see from a man who believed he was the father of the child. Like he felt like he came in and treated your daughter like she was his?
Ms. Delaney says she thought David faked his death to dodge child support. Judge Lake actually raises an eyebrow, understandably. How do you die with no health issues right before a paternity test? Ms. Delaney asks, her frustration boiling. David's mother, Ms. Pert, insists it's true. He's gone. That's my child, she says, her voice breaking. I wouldn't lie. For a brief moment, you can see both mothers' grief collide, the living and the mourning.
How were you able to connect with his family?
I found out that the funeral home that they had whatever they had at was, I contacted them, and then I left my information and she called me back.
And what was that conversation like? What happened?
She explained to me that they were supposed to go to court and that he didn't make it.
David's sister, Miss Baylor, steps in calmly but firmly. My brother wasn't sure, she says. He wanted the DNA test. She insists he told her that himself. Ms. Pert nods, adding, we just need to know the truth. Ms. Delaney snaps. Her name is Joya, not the baby. The entire courtroom freezes. She has a name! Ms. Delaney's voice trembles with anger. Even Judge Lake looks moved. The tension between these families couldn't be thicker.
At first, yes, Your Honor, that is what I thought. Because it was just so weird how you come to one court date and then you never deny that she's yours. And they tell you to come for paternity testing. And then we have a conversation and then next thing I know, you're dead. You had no health problems. How are you dead?
I mean, it was a shock for us also, you know, and I mean, the bottom line of it is,
Ms. Delaney's mother chimes in again, saying she wishes she'd met David before he died. Now she'll never know her father, she says through tears. Ms. Pert shoots back defensively, still saying, the baby. Judge Lake interjects softly, her name is Joya. The room quiets. This is why paternity issues hurt so deeply, she explains. They create confusion, pain, and loss. You can see every woman at that table carrying her own kind of heartbreak.
Her name is Joya, so I'm okay.
It's about Joya.
It's all about Joya.
Okay.
It really is.
Okay, it is.
It really is.
Okay.
This is why paternity issues, they really are, they're hurtful and they're confusing, and they create a lens through which we see everything.
The DNA results are finally in. Judge Lake announces they tested Joya's DNA against David's mother. Since David is deceased, the tension is unbearable. Ms. Delaney's eyes well up. Judge Lake reads slowly. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Pert and Joya Delaney is 0.0%. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Ms. Delaney shakes her head violently. "That's not true," she cries. Her mother clutches her hand. The disbelief and pain are gut-wrenching. You can feel it everywhere.
In the case of Delaney versus Perrette, Joya Delaney, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Almenia Perrette and Joya Delaney is 0.00%.
Get ready for a case that's been simmering for 18 years. Mr. Whistler walks in drowning in $21,000 of child support debt for a son he swears isn't his. But Miss Frazier, she's ice cold, admitting she always knew he might not be the dad and telling him to just get over it. With his wages garnished to just $70 a week, this is a financial and emotional nightmare finally hitting its boiling point.
Mr. Whistler, you claim you currently owe almost $21,000 in back child support. And then son, a young man you believe, you say your paycheck is garnished each week, leaving you only $70.
So why the lifelong doubt? Mr. Whistler drops a bombshell. Doctors told him he was medically unable to have kids due to a torsion. So when Ms. Frazier ended up pregnant, his first thought was, how? This isn't just a hunch, it's a medical diagnosis that's haunted him for nearly 2 decades. You can hear the frustration in his voice as he explains the impossible situation he's been trapped in.
You doubt paternity.
Because, Your Honor, we were in a relationship, and about late 2005, she comes to me and tells me she's pregnant. Are you for sure it is mine?
You had doubts from the beginning.
Yes, ma'am. I had a torsion, unable to have children.
But here's the twist that makes it so messy. He wanted to be the dad. She told him if he wanted the baby to have his last name, he had to be at the birth. He was there. He signed the birth certificate, and he even proposed to her. She took the ring and said, "Not right now." He was all in, building a future based on what he believed was a sure thing.
You told me if I wanted that kid to have my last name and I wanted to claim him.
That's
and
why
I
that's
did
your
it.
last name.
And then it come out a little while later that you had been sleeping with this other man all this time.
At 6 months.
Then, the rug pull. Just 6 months after the baby was born, she casually tells him, "Oh, by the way, it might be this other guy's." His world shattered. That signature on the birth certificate, it locked him into 18 years of financial responsibility for a child he now seriously doubted was his. The betrayal in his voice is still raw, all these years later.
I can't go on with my life now.
You claim that not until the child was 6 months old were you told that there could be a question. So take me back to that time. How did she tell you this?
She told me straight up, yeah, this other man's.
He whips out the proof. A fresh letter from the state of Missouri demanding a whopping $20,850.56. He's livid, screaming that he's already paid a fortune. But Ms. Frazier shoots back with her own claim. "I never got a dime. So where's the money going?" The plot thickens. It's a classic, he said, she said, but with a mountain of debt sitting right in the middle of the courtroom.
I've never given it to me. I ain't got no child support one.
You never received any child support from the state of Missouri.
Nope.
Hold on, Mr. Whistler, what is the evidence you keep holding up? May I see that, please?
A letter I received from the Child Enforcement of the state of Missouri.
I've never received child support.
Judge Lake cuts to the chase. Was there another man? Ms. Frazier admits, yes. And did he ever pay child support? No. So let's get this straight. There's a confirmed other candidate for dad, but the state is still chasing Mr. Whistler for the cash? The injustice is so thick you could choke on it. He's stuck paying for a kid that might be another man's responsibility.
But Mr. Whistler, because you signed the birth certificate, under the law, you are the legal father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that when you were signing that birth certificate that day?
Yes, Your Honor, I certainly did, but I was to the impression it was my child.
Ms. Frazier tries to defend herself, saying she always wrote the other guy's name on the paperwork. But Judge Lake serves the cold, hard truth. You signed the birth certificate, sir. That one signature, made in a moment of faith and commitment, became a legal trapdoor. It doesn't matter what she wrote later. The state saw his name and came for him. The look on his face, pure devastation.
I was under the impression that I could have been the only person.
You signed that birth certificate because you believed person.
Yes, Your Honor, until about 6 months later.
After the child was already here.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had already signed
The stakes get even higher when his fiancée takes the stand. She's done her homework and is terrified he could go to jail over this debt. She's seen it happen for smaller amounts. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about his freedom. This 18-year-old secret is now threatening to lock up his future, and the fear in her eyes is absolutely real.
And I still got to go back to the state of Missouri and hire someone before I go to jail.
Because Dallas is almost 18 now.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you could go to jail for failure to pay child support.
Yes, you're right, Your Honor.
Now, meet Dallas, the son at the center of all this. Judge Lake asks him if he ever believed Mr. Whistler was his dad. He says he did, but his mom was always honest that there might be someone else. He's met the other guy, but it's Mr. Whistler he calls dad. This isn't just about DNA, it's about the family bond that formed over a lifetime of confusion.
Mr. Whistler, thank you for joining us today. You realize why we're here.
Yes.
And so I have to ask you directly, do you believe Mr. Whistler is your biological father?
As I was growing up, I did believe he was my father, but I was always told that it could be somebody else.
And now for the legal gut punch. Judge Lake warns Mr. Whistler that even if the DNA test clears him, he might still be on the hook for that $21,000. Why? Because he signed the birth certificate. Let that sink in. The truth might set his soul free, but it might not touch that massive debt. The system has him in a vice grip, and it might not let go.
You may still be responsible for that $21,000.
Yes, I understand.
Depending on today's results, you will have the opportunity to return to your home state. You can get that $21,000 debt.
The moment of truth has arrived. Judge Lake opens the envelope. Mr. Whistler, you are not his father. 18 years of doubt, debt, and drama, and it's finally over. He is not the biological father. The scientific result is in, and it confirms what he's felt in his gut since day one. But the battle is only half over. Now he has to see if the law will acknowledge the truth.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. When it comes to the paternity of Mr. Dallas Whistler, Mr. Whistler, you are not his father.
Two sisters, Miss Johnson and Miss Davis, are in court to learn if the man who raised them is their biological father. The defendant, Mr. Johnson, admits he's always had doubts. The catalyst? Another man crashed their mother's funeral, claiming he was their real dad. With a third potential sibling waiting outside, this case is a 25-year-old mystery wrapped in family drama, and everyone is desperate for the truth.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Johnson Davis versus Johnson.
Thank you, Jerome. Ms. Johnson and Mrs. Davis, you are here in court today to finally find out if the defendant is your biological father. You both claim at your mother's funeral a different man approached you and announced he instead is your father.
Ms. Johnson describes the shocking funeral scene. As she mourned, a man walked up behind her, put his arms around her, and asked, "How is my beautiful little girl doing?" She was stunned, having always believed Mr. Johnson was her father. In that moment, her entire identity was thrown into chaos. The man turning out to be a family friend only made the bizarre claim more confusing and painful.
He's also taken a DNA test and will meet him shortly. Ms. Johnson, explain to the court what happened at your mother's funeral.
Well, at the time, I haven't seen my mother in 4 years. I was at work, and that's how I found out that my mother had passed away. Now, the day of the funeral, when I had walked in, this guy had walked in behind me.
The confusion started long before the funeral. Ms. Johnson reveals her mother would flip-flop on the story. One day, she'd say Mr. Johnson was the father. The next day, she wasn't sure. This back and forth created a lifetime of doubt for everyone involved. The man at the funeral wasn't a random stranger, but someone her mother had specifically named as a potential father, confirming the rumors.
I had thought that the defendant, Roger Johnson, was my biological father. And at the time, I did not know who was behind me. So, Your Honor, I'm sitting here looking, stunned and trying to figure out what is this guy talking about as far as him being my biological father.
Judge Lake asks Mr. Johnson if he ever suspected infidelity. Yes, Your Honor, he states firmly. He reveals he once called his wife and discovered she was in another man's apartment. While he says he didn't witness the activity, the implication was clear. This first-hand experience of her unfaithfulness is what planted the seed of doubt about his daughter's paternity that has haunted him for decades.
You did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you hear specifically?
Actually, she actually told me.
She did?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did she say?
She would tell me, I'm unhappy. You're not spending the time with me. And she would go off and be with these other guys.
Ms. Davis shares her own haunting memory from childhood. Her mother took her to a car lot, pointed to a man working there, and told him, "This is her." As a child, she didn't understand, but as an adult, she pieced it together. Her mother was identifying a potential father. It was another piece of a painful puzzle, suggesting her mother knew the paternity was uncertain all along.
My mother used to take me to places like this car lot, and this guy used to work there, and she had me up in the front of the seat with her in the car, and then she looked at the guy and told him, "This is her." Now, me being young, I didn't really understand then, but once I got older, I started putting the puzzles together, and then now I know.
Mr. Johnson presents his divorce papers as evidence. They show the girl's mother gave up all her parental rights. He raised them completely on his own, despite his lingering doubts. He was there for their birth, through all the milestones, acting as both mom and dad. He accepted the responsibility, even as the question of biology hung over their family like a dark cloud.
That's my divorce papers.
So this is a final judgment of divorce.
Yes, Your Honor.
It says the defendant, which was your mother at the time, will not pay any child support, she having given up all parental rights to plaintiff.
The emotional weight hits as Ms. Johnson tears up, remembering how her dad taught her girl things. As a tattoo artist, he used his drawing skills to create visual aids, doing his best to be a resourceful single father. Judge Lake calls him a very resourceful daddy. This moment highlights the profound effort he put into raising them, making the paternity question even more emotionally charged.
But thank God, me being a tattoo artist, I know how to draw, so I was able to explain a lot of things and go on the computer, pull things up.
That's smart. You did illustration, did a visual. That's smart. A very resourceful daddy you were. You shaking your head, yes, Miss Johnson, and you have tears. You remember him trying to be mom and dad and explain?
The story gets even more heartbreaking. Mr. Johnson reveals he had to pay the girl's mother just to spend time with them. He wanted them to have a relationship with her, but she would only agree if he gave her money. This added a layer of financial and emotional exploitation to an already painful situation, showing the extreme lengths he went to for his daughter's well-being.
For many years, Your Honor, and I loved my first wife. That was the mother of my children. But and my children know, I used to pay their mother to see them. And when I said that I wasn't going to pay
You used to have to pay
yes, Your Honor.
Their mother to see them?
Yes, Your Honor. And that's the reason why it was so long, why they didn't see the mother, having to give her money just to spend time with the kids.
Their brother, Roger Johnson Jr., enters. He's asked if he sees their father in his sisters. He confirms he sees a resemblance in Ms. Johnson, but for Ms. Davis, he softly admits, "No, ma'am." The pain is visible on his face. This public acknowledgement of the physical difference underscores the family's internal struggle and the silent suspicion that has fractured their unity for years.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, we're here with your sisters and also your dad, talking about the issues regarding their paternity. Tell me what you know exactly about the doubts surrounding their paternity.
There's a lot of doubts. My middle sister, I could see my father.
That's Miss Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
A devastating revelation. Ms. Davis's husband didn't even know Mr. Johnson was her father. She had introduced him as the man that raised her. Mr. Johnson describes this as being stabbed in the heart. This act of denial, born from her own confusion, caused a deep rift, leading to a period where she cut off all contact. leaving him wounded and estranged from her life.
I don't believe you did, but what I meant by that, sir, is that others have.
And it got to her, and she got to a point to where she was trying to single herself out from the family. Her husband didn't even know I was her father.
Really? Explain, how could he not know you were her?
From what he was told, I was just the man that raised her.
Ms. Davis confesses through tears. She admits she was rebellious, confused, and said hurtful things, including denying he was her father. She even had another man give her away at her wedding, not inviting her dad. She asks for forgiveness, stating, "I don't want to do this anymore." It's a raw admission of how the paternity chaos poisoned their relationship and caused her to push him away.
I was young, I was rebellious. I was going through a period of time to where I said some very negative things towards my father, and I really didn't mean it. I was very confused still at that point in time.
Okay.
Your Honor, she was so confused, another man gave her away at her wedding. I wasn't even invited. I didn't even know she had got married.
Mr. Johnson reveals his ultimate motivation, his grandchildren. One has medical problems, and he needs to know the full family medical history. If it takes going through this pain to save my grandchild, it's worth it, he declares. This elevates the case beyond personal doubt into a mission of love and protection, showing his role as a patriarch extends far beyond biology.
I have 7 grandchildren. 2 of my grandchildren is with her. They have medical problems, the oldest one does. And when she has, I want her to understand that even though I want to know if I'm really her father, regardless if I am biological, I'm always going to be a father, she needs to know.
The results arrive. The tension is unbearable. Judge Lake reads them one by one. For the son, you are his father. For Miss Johnson, you are her father. Finally, for Ms. Davis, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are her father. The relief is instant and powerful. He is the biological father of all 3. A 25-year mystery ends, closing old wounds and offering this fractured family a chance to truly heal.
In the case of Johnson, Davis v. Johnson, as it pertains to the paternity of Roger Johnson Jr., and as to whether Roger Johnson Sr. is his biological father, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are his father.
This case kicks off with a certified mess. Ms. Hilburn admits she's been tangled in a 3-year love triangle that resulted in her 10-month-old daughter, Soray. She's here to prove the defendant, Mr. Barnes, is the father, but he has major doubts, especially after discovering she cheated on him on Valentine's Day. Oh, and she's still legally married to someone else. The stage is set for a drama-filled paternity reveal.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Hilburn versus Barnes.
Thank you, Jerome. Ms. Hilburn, you admit that you've been caught up in a love triangle, which you say resulted in the birth of your 10-month-old daughter, Soray.
Mr. Barnes lays out his heartbreaking commitment. He was there for every step, the appointments, the ultrasounds, the birth. He even arrived at the hospital before she did, but there was a huge legal snag. He couldn't sign the birth certificate because Ms. Hilburn was still married to another man. He did everything a father should, only to be blocked by a technicality and a web of lies.
It's a father-daughter relationship. I was there from start to finish. I was there for appointments, ultrasounds. I was there when she was born. I got there before she did to the hospital.
Ms. Hilburn starts unraveling the sordid tale. She met Mr. Barnes through an ex. They started a relationship, and then she began secretly sleeping with another man. Judge Lake confirms that's pretty much a love triangle. Mr. Barnes had no idea, believing her lies until the truth was forced out. The confession is blunt and paints a picture of deliberate, long-term deception.
I met Mr. Barnes through an ex of mine. He was friends with him, and we developed a relationship. And then we started to have issues, and I met another guy and started to sleep with him behind Mr. Barnes's back.
That's pretty much a love triangle, so you ended up having feelings for both men.
Mr. Barnes relives the brutal Valentine's Day discovery. He was at work while she claimed to be at a friend's. He came home to silence, no calls or texts. The next day, she returned with the other man, and he was informed by their mutual friends that the two had slept together. He found out about the betrayal from third parties, adding public humiliation to the pain.
She says she's going to her friends. Okay, fine, go ahead. I get home, I try texting her, try calling her, no response. Whatever, I go to sleep. The next day, Miss Hilburn and the other gentleman come back to the house. They're brought by the people that they stayed with.
The plot thickens to unbelievable levels. Judge Lake discovers that after the cheating, all three of them, Mr. Barnes, Ms. Hilburn, and the other man, lived together in the same house. Even crazier, Ms. Hilburn admits she was still intimate with both men during this time. The logistical and emotional chaos of this arrangement leaves Judge Lake and everyone else just stunned.
You said all of you were living together?
Yes, ma'am.
You're living with your girlfriend and the man she cheated on you with?
No, we were not together at the time.
The chaos isn't in the past. Mr. Barnes admits they are still intimate today, though he claims they use protection. Then, Ms. Hilburn drops another bomb. She is 7 months pregnant. Judge Lake asks if she knows who the father is. The answer is a devastating deja vu. It could be Mr. Barnes or the other guy. The cycle is repeating in real time.
How it is today.
If he said it was going to be different, that's why he's still sleeping with me in the present.
Mr. Barnes, are you still intimate with Ms. Hilburn?
Yes, ma'am, but we use condoms.
Ms. Hilburn, are you also still with the other guy?
This baby was born, I became pregnant again.
Ms. Hilburn says when she found out she was pregnant with Soray, she told Mr. Barnes first. He was initially skeptical because she had lied about being pregnant before, but when she showed him the proof, he was happy. He wanted to be a father. The tragic twist, he was still in the dark about the other man, building a future on a half-truth.
Do you know who this child's father is?
It could be Mr. Barnes or the other guy.
It's the same situation.
The same situation.
Guess we can cancel our vacations.
Absolutely.
Because Miss Hilburn would potentially be the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
A heated argument erupts over when the truth came out. Ms. Hilburn claims she told him before the birth that he might not be the father. Mr. Barnes vehemently insists she didn't reveal the possibility until 2 months after Soray was born, during an argument. This fundamental disagreement on the timeline shows a relationship built on shifting sands and conflicting realities.
I took the paper to him and showed that I was pregnant, and he was happy because he wanted to be a father.
So even though she lied before about being pregnant,
Yeah, I saw the proof this
you saw
time,
the proof
so I was happy.
and you were happy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she tell you about the other guy?
Judge Lake calls out the repeating pattern, pointing out Ms. Hilburn is in the exact same situation again. She admits she regrets her actions and is scared that if Soray isn't his, Mr. Barnes will walk away. The judge notes that the other man is absent, only showing up to provoke Mr. Barnes, using the baby as a pawn in their toxic dynamic.
Miss Hilburn, there's a part of me that wants to believe you regret it, and yet you find yourself in the exact same situation again. I don't know how much more difficult a life lesson has to be, but the mistake you've repeated again.
The emotional core is exposed. Ms. Hilburn confesses her deepest fear that her actions have destroyed her child's chance at a stable, two-parent home with a man who truly cares. She's terrified of losing Mr. Barnes. He affirms that Soray deserves somebody there as a father, showing his commitment remains, even as the foundation crumbles beneath them.
What your hopes are, because you definitely want to be the father.
Yes, I do.
And you truly want him to be, because this other gentleman, you have no faith in him.
I do not.
Why are you with him then?
The web of entanglement grows even more tangled. Judge Lake discovers Mr. Barnes also has a current girlfriend. Furthermore, his girlfriend lives with her baby daddy and their kids, and he hasn't seen her in 7 months. This revelation transforms the love triangle into a full-blown square, revealing a cycle of unavailable partners and deeply dysfunctional relationships that everyone is perpetuating.
Hold on now. You say you don't see your girlfriend for 7 months?
Yeah, she lives on the property with her baby daddy.
She could potentially be carrying your child now, and you also could be Soray's father.
Judge Lake has had enough. She orders that from the courtroom, Ms. Hilburn will undergo prenatal testing for the new baby. She declares that Soray shouldn't have to wait almost a year to know her father, and this new child won't either. It's a direct judicial intervention to stop the cycle of chaos and provide answers for the innocent children caught in the crossfire.
We are going to get the DNA test results for Soray today, but I am going to order you. I am going to send you directly. Find out who this child's father is
The results for Soray are in. After a tense pause, Judge Lake delivers the verdict. Mr. Barnes, you are not the father. The result is a devastating blow. He sits in stunned silence. The judge admits she was rooting for him, seeing how much he loved the little girl, but states firmly that DNA is the jury. The truth is absolute, and it's heartbreaking.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Hilburn versus Barnes, pertaining to whether Sean Barnes is the biological father of Mr. Barnes, you are not Soray's father.
In the aftermath, Mr. Barnes is gutted. When asked what he'll do, he admits, I can't just really let go of that. Judge Lake advises him that if he stays in Soray's life, it must be without resentment. She also delivers a hard truth. Soray is young enough to recover if he decides to step away. The future of their bond now hangs in the balance.
What is there to do? I mean, can't just really let go of that.
Because ultimately, you are not her biological father. So if you truly feel like it's best, she's young enough now where she can recover.
In a follow-up, the results for the new baby are revealed. In a brutal case of deja vu, Judge Lake announces, Mr. Barnes, you are not the father. He takes it stoically, reaffirming that it won't change his relationship with Soray. He promises to keep on going how we have been, proving his love for the little girl he raised is stronger than biology.
Mr. Barnes, you are not the father.
Still not going to change anything for the fact of Soray, so I mean, just gonna keep on going how we have been.
I hope that this entire situation has been a huge learning lesson, life lesson for you.
Mr. Brown starts off strong, insisting that he is Jaira's father. He's been there from day one, feeding her, bathing her, and even taking her to doctor's appointments when Ms. Lever couldn't be there. He's convinced that Jaira looks just like his other children, but Ms. Lever immediately shoots this down, claiming that Mr. Brown isn't the biological father. This sets the stage for a court battle full of emotional twists. Can Mr. Brown's love for Jaira really be enough to prove his fatherhood?
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Brown versus Lever.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Brown, you say you have always believed you were the biological father of the defendant's daughter, Jaira Lever. You have loved her and taken care of her.
As the tension builds, Ms. Lever drops a bombshell. She was involved with her ex during the time Jaira was conceived. She claims that she and her ex rekindled their relationship while dealing with a family crisis. This revelation puts Mr. Brown's paternity claim into question. He's stunned, but he continues to believe that Jaira is his daughter. The courtroom is gripped by the complexity of this situation, and it's clear that the truth will be hard to uncover.
Revealed to me that she was pregnant, and they also told me that there was a possibility that I might not be the father. Although I had heard this afterwards from other people, there was no doubt in my mind that Jaira was my daughter. She mentioned that I had been away, okay? But
the plot thickens when Ms. Lever admits that she and her ex were intimate in the hospital during the time Jaira was conceived. Mr. Brown, in disbelief, claims that he and Ms. Lever were also intimate during that time. But this new detail forces the question, who is the real father? This moment is critical in the case, and it leaves everyone in the courtroom wondering how this will play out. Can Mr. Brown's confidence withstand the revelations of Ms. Lever's affair?
I was not around.
Your
And
Honor,
he was
in
not
July-
there.
In July, I was at home. Miss Lever and I also were intimate July 4th in our home by the back door.
Oh my God.
No, let me explain. We were outside, it's 4th of July. My children, our children, went down the street where my niece lives.
Ms. Lever insists that Mr. Brown is not the father, and she takes it further, claiming that their entire relationship was rocky. She reveals she had been with her ex during a pivotal time, and now Mr. Brown is left wondering if he's been living a lie. His confidence begins to falter, but he's still emotionally invested. This is the first major crack in his argument, and the stakes feel higher than ever. Will the truth be enough to break their turbulent relationship?
He is not her father, and I told him that from day one. This has been a mess. And I told Mr. Brown that he was not her father because, like, this is my ex. you know, and when I end up getting pregnant, felt like it was my right to tell him so that he can move forward. But
so you felt like...
In an emotional turn, Mr. Brown demands that Gyra be given his last name, but Ms. Lever shows the birth certificate, proving that Gyra's last name is Lever, not Brown. This moment is a gut punch for Mr. Brown, who feels as though his years of commitment are being erased. The birth certificate, a symbol of legal reality, forces him to confront the undeniable truth that Gyra may not be his biological child, despite everything he's done for her.
Ms. Lever, and Gyra is your ex's biological child. You all did not break up. You have a second child who's in question.
Yeah.
Genesis.
Yes, ma'am. Can I say something?
Even when we broke up, Your Honor, we were still intimate. When she first got her car, she bought a brand new...
As Mr. Brown begins to process the shock of the birth certificate, the conversation turns to their living situation. Mr. Brown insists on staying in the home because he doesn't want his children to grow up without a father, but Ms. Lever is adamant that he should leave. Their emotional tug of war adds more fuel to the fire as both of them argue bitterly in front of the court. The tension in the room is thick, and it's clear that this relationship is unraveling.
And so wait a minute. As I look at this birth certificate, Genesis, Summer, Lyric, Brown, Lever.
And Gyra's supposed to be the opposite.
That's what you want.
That's not what I wanted.
So wait a minute, Miss Lever, you did give Genesis his last name.
Yes, ma'am. As I believe that he is her father, but it is a possible doubt. I was with someone else during the time.
The DNA results for Genesis come in. Mr. Brown is confirmed as her biological father. While this is a bittersweet victory for Mr. Brown, the battle for Gyra is far from over. The courtroom breathes a collective sigh of relief, but the emotional weight of Gyra's paternity still lingers in the air. Can the results for Gyra offer the clarity Mr. Brown is desperately searching for?
In the case of Brown versus Lever, when it comes to 2-year-old Genesis Brown Lever, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you...
The moment arrives. Mr. Brown is not Gyra's biological father. The courtroom falls into a heavy silence as the devastating news hits Mr. Brown like a ton of bricks. His face says it all: heartbreak, disbelief, and the crushing reality of the situation. Ms. Lever, despite her own relief, knows this moment will change everything. The truth is out, but the damage done to Mr. Brown is immeasurable. Can this relationship ever heal?
Adults read as follows.
Oh, God.
In the case of Brown versus Lever, as it pertains to Gyra Lever, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
The case begins with Judge Lauren Lake addressing the courtroom. Mr. Haggerty, you're here to prove you are the father of your 29-year-old daughter after her mother recently claimed you're not. And right there, the tension is set. Mr. Haggerty confidently replies, "Yes, Your Honor." You can feel the emotion already building. This man has loved this child for 30 years, and now he's being told it could all be a lie.
Mrs. Wandick.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Haggerty, you've opened your case in hopes of saving your relationship with your daughter. She has distanced herself from you, and you claim it's because her mother recently lied and claimed you are not her father.
Then, the moment that shatters everyone's composure. Ms. Davis blurts out, "He was just a playmate." You could practically hear the oxygen leave the room. Ms. Wandick, the daughter, looks completely stunned. "That's not fair," she cries, tears rolling down her face. "You let this man believe he was my father for 29 years. This isn't just courtroom drama. It's heartbreak unfolding live."
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the man you always knew to be daddy.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's not. He was just a playmate, Your Honor. But I know who the biological father is.
Ms. Wandick continues, voice trembling but strong. "If you loved me, you wouldn't have played games with me or this man." Judge Lake's eyes soften, but you can tell she's fighting to keep order. The mother just sits there, emotionless, as her daughter breaks down. You can feel decades of betrayal coming out in real time.
It's very upsetting because she's just thinking it's all cute, fun, and game. You were young, yeah, true enough. I was young too, but I still had to do what I needed to do for my kids. And I would have told my kid from jump about possibly having another father.
And you're having to go through this on your own.
Yes, and she just thinking.
Now Ms. Wandick opens up about her childhood. Mr. Haggerty was a wonderful father to me, she says. He'd pick me up from foster care, take me around his family, treat me no different from his other kids. The entire courtroom melts. Mr. Haggerty starts tearing up, whispering, "That's hurtful, very hurtful." You can see this man's heart breaking in real time.
Growing up.
Mr. Haggerty was a wonderful father to me. Like, I was in and out of the system. And he'll come pick me up from my foster care home, take me around to his side of the family, which is, they're awesome. Like, he's just been an outstanding dad. He didn't treat me no different from my sister.
Enter Ms. Davis's sister, Carolyn, and she drops a bombshell. She testifies that when her sister got pregnant, she told everyone Craig Haggerty was the father. No doubt, no hesitation. She never mentioned another man, Carolyn says. Talk about throwing your own sister under the bus. Even Judge Lake has to pause. The truth is twisting from every angle now.
My sister called me. She said, me and Craig just got through doing, and she said, I'm pregnant. And she told me and our family that Craig was Marzella's father.
Mr. Haggerty.
Mr. Haggerty.
She said it?
She said it.
She didn't name any?
Ms. Wandick then shares how she first learned there might be another father when a man she didn't know walked up to her, crying, and said, "I'm your dad, 19 years old, face to face with a stranger, calling himself her father." Can you imagine that shock? The courtroom is dead silent as she explains how she didn't even believe it at first, until she saw a photo of his mother and noticed a resemblance.
When I really found out things was I was at a sibling's house and this other man came up to me and he started crying and I'm like, whoa, why are you crying? Like, who are you? I don't know you. Why are you crying? Why are you looking at me just crying? And he was like, you don't know who I am? He was like, I'm your father. I'm like,
how old were you?
I was 19 years old, Your Honor.
Mr. Haggerty finds out about this other man right there in court. His face drops. "I found out today," he says, voice cracking. The entire courtroom gasps. For 30 years, he's believed he's her dad, and now he's learning another man might have claimed that title, all in front of cameras and strangers. Talk about gut-wrenching.
Still in your life?
Yeah, he still calls and check on us and stuff, and he claims to be my dad to right now.
So, Mr. Haggerty, did you have any idea about this other man?
No, I haven't. No, I didn't.
When did you find out about this?
I found out about this today.
Today?
Today.
When questioned, Ms. Davis admits the unthinkable. She was already pregnant by another man when she was playing around with Mr. Haggerty. "I wanted a baby by him so bad," she says tearfully. "I had 4 miscarriages." The pain in her voice is real, but so is the damage. She confesses she put his name on her daughter out of love and desperation. Judge Lake just shakes her head, caught between empathy and disbelief.
Man.
Yes. And Marzella was already conceived in my belly when I was playing with Mr. Haggerty. I was young.
Did you tell Mr. Haggerty that he was your daughter's father?
Yeah.
You told him that?
Yes.
Did you tell the other man you were in the relationship that he was the father too?
The other man already knew because he called it when Marzella was first born.
Ms. Wandick says she's never seen her birth certificate, ever. Judge Lake holds it up, revealing the father's name belongs to the other man. The courtroom goes quiet again. The truth, literally written in ink, has been hidden from her for 29 years. Mr. Haggerty bows his head, clearly crushed. It's one of those moments that hits like a ton of bricks.
This is the child's name, mother, of course, Tessie Joyce Davis, and father's name. The other man is on the birth certificate. That is not Mr. Haggerty.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Miss Wandick, have you ever seen your birth certificate?
Then comes a rare, beautiful moment. Mr. Haggerty's biological daughter, Vanessa, takes the stand. "She looks more like my dad than I do," she says, tears streaming. The sisters lock hands and cry together. Vanessa declares, "Even if she's not my sister by blood, she's my sister." Judge Lake's voice softens as she says, "That's love, right there." You can practically feel the entire room tearing up.
The court, please.
My name is Vanessa Lachey Haggerty.
Ms. Haggerty, thank you so much. So you are Mr. Haggerty's daughter?
Yes.
So do you believe Ms. Wandick is your sister?
Of course I do. She looks like my dad. She looks more like my dad than I do. That's all I've ever known. Like when we were young, we dressed alike.
When asked why she waited so long to tell the truth, Ms. Davis finally says it. I felt guilty, but her daughter isn't buying it. You waited until money got involved, she snaps. The courtroom erupts in tension again. 30 years of deceit and resentment are crashing down, and Judge Lake struggles to keep control. You could cut this tension with a knife.
Money, when this other man accumulated all this money, that's when she wanted to say, that's who really your dad is. You need to get some money from him. So it was all about the money, because that's when she told me.
So when was this?
This was back in 2016, Your Honor.
Judge Lake takes a deep breath. We can't live in this pain, she says. We can't grow in this pain. Then, Mr. Haggerty whispers, I love my daughter. The judge looks him in the eyes and nods, because no DNA test can measure that kind of love. The whole courtroom feels it.
I love my daughter.
I know. I know you do.
I love her dearly.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
And
if you love me, the cycle will continue to go on and on
but
to continue
Ms. Wandick,
to hurt me over and over
I
again.
want you to look at me, baby. I believe your mother loves you.
And here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. Judge Lake opens the envelope and reads the results. In the case of Haggerty versus Wandick, Mr. Haggerty, you are not the father. Gasps fill the courtroom. Ms. Wandick bursts into tears, while Mr. Haggerty just nods, holding back his own. 30 years of love, now shattered by science.
In the case of Haggerty versus Wandick, when it comes to 29-year-old Marzella Wandick, it has been determined by this court.
Ms. Harris enters the courtroom with a complicated situation on her hands. Two men claiming to be the father of her 18-month-old daughter, Anaya. Her current boyfriend, Mr. Murray, and her ex, Mr. Donaldson, are both convinced they're the dad. Ms. Harris is here today to get some answers. The tension is already palpable as the case begins.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Murray versus Gerald Donaldson.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Harris, you have been caught in a love triangle. There are two men in court today claiming to have fathered your 18-month-old daughter, Anaya.
Ms. Harris explains how Mr. Donaldson, her ex-boyfriend, left her when she got pregnant, saying he had feelings for another girl. While he was there for the baby shower and the birth, he wasn't around for the pregnancy. His departure left Ms. Harris alone during a time when she needed support the most. This betrayal is just the beginning of a long journey in court.
Yes. Why is that? Let's talk about these relationships. Tell me about your relationship with Mr. Donaldson.
From my understanding, we was dating. But then when I got pregnant, he told me he had feelings for another girl. And he told me that he didn't want to be with me. So I was basically alone during my pregnancy. He was there during the baby shower and...
Mr. Donaldson admits that he didn't even believe Ms. Harris was pregnant at first. He thought she was trying to hold on to him by claiming pregnancy. Wow, really? This admission is shocking. It's clear that Mr. Donaldson's initial response was to doubt her entirely, adding to the emotional weight of the situation.
When your stomach started growing.
No, he brought me a pregnancy test.
Oh, he did? All right. So you brought her a pregnancy test and said, prove it.
Yeah.
And she did.
By that time, it was too late. She was like big. I hadn't seen her in so long. It wasn't even no point in getting a pregnancy test.
Mr. Donaldson eventually accepted the pregnancy once Ms. Harris's belly began to show, but by then, it was too late, as he says. This lack of emotional support from him only adds to Ms. Harris's frustration, and we can see how deeply this situation is affecting her.
Oh, because you could tell then she is pregnant. Okay, and did you accept at that time that you were the father of the baby?
Yes, I did.
You did. You acknowledged it and you accepted it.
Yes, I did.
Were you active in the doctor's appointments? Did you go to those?
No.
No.
Mr. Donaldson's mother didn't even know about the pregnancy until 5 months in. And even more awkwardly, Mr. Donaldson didn't tell her himself. His father did. Can you imagine that? This lack of communication and transparency only deepens the family drama. His mom finally accepts the paternity, but it's clear she's been kept in the dark for far too long.
I did not find out about it until she was about 5 months, maybe.
You never knew your son was possibly the father of this child?
When he told me about it, I accepted that he was because that's what Chastity stated, that he was the dad.
At what point, Mr. Donaldson, did you say, Mom, I have something I have to tell you?
I didn't even tell her, honestly. I told my father, and my father told her.
Mr. Donaldson admits he's seen Anaya only a handful of times, claiming that circumstances made it hard to see her as often as he wanted. This feels like a flimsy excuse given the emotional bond he should have developed with his child. How many chances did he really make to be involved in her life?
Times now. And your family has accepted the baby?
Yes, we accept her. But when all of this started, we kind of just backed away from the whole situation because it was getting a little messy.
So at what point do you start having doubts that Anaya is your grandchild?
Mr. Murray throws a huge curveball when he admits to having a threesome with Ms. Harris in December without protection. This just took an unexpected turn. Not only is this shocking, but it also adds serious complications to the paternity drama. The room is in stunned silence as this revelation hits everyone hard.
We had a situation December 14th,
What's the situation?
a threesome.
Oh, I didn't expect you to say that. Okay, so, wait, that's December. And you didn't use protection during that? I don't know what y'all out here doing. We know young people, and we know you're gonna be young, but this is a lot.
Ms. Weaver, Mr. Murray's mother, discovers the threesome and the pregnancy around March or April. She confronts her son and then Ms. Harris, who insists that Mr. Murray is not the father due to the dates of conception. This situation just keeps getting messier and messier. We're watching two mothers navigating their sons' poor decisions.
After the threesome?
Yes, and then like around, I wanna say March or April, we found out that Chastity was pregnant.
Do you immediately say to your son, are you the father of this baby?
Yes, I did. And
And
he told
what did he
me
say?
no because Chastity told him no. And then I went to Chastity and I asked her.
Ms. Weaver starts to doubt the paternity of Anaya as she spends more time with her. But there's a twist. Ms. Weaver says Anaya looks just like Fred, Mr. Murray. This adds a layer of confusion to the situation as everyone tries to determine who Anaya really resembles.
Certain, but you just felt like, based upon your experience, Mr. Donaldson, I really believe you're the father. And you told Mr. Murray you're not. Okay. So now Anaya's 18 months old. Who's in her life as father? Who does she bond with as father?
The tension continues to rise as Ms. Weaver compares baby photos of Anaya and Mr. Murray. It's undeniable. They look alike. But wait. Mr. Donaldson is quick to agree, even though he's clearly been pushed out of the equation. This moment is a roller coaster of emotions for everyone involved.
Do you still take Anaya to see Mr. Donaldson and his mother as well?
He's moved out of state, so...
Mr. Donaldson moved out of state?
Yes, that's what he told me.
Did you, Mr. Donaldson?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
The first round of DNA results come in, and it's a shocker. Mr. Donaldson is not the father. There's a collective sigh of relief, but the bigger question remains. Who is the father then? The tension in the courtroom is palpable as everyone awaits the next twist.
Mr. Gerald Donaldson, you are not the father.
The next DNA result is red, and Mr. Murray is also not the father. The entire room freezes as Ms. Harris's world crumbles in front of her. The heartbreak is visible on her face, and the gravity of the situation is clear. The final blow has been struck, and no one is prepared for the aftermath.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Murray, you are not the father.
You don't forget betrayal, especially when it's been festering for 26 years. Ms. Tant drags her ex-husband, Mr. Wynn, to paternity court to finally prove he fathered her son, Daniel. But Mr. Wynn insists her affair destroyed their marriage and tore their family apart. Judge Lauren Lake is determined to uncover the truth buried under decades of resentment.
Ms. Tant, you are disgusted that you had to drag your ex-husband to court to prove he fathered your son, Daniel. You are here to put an end to this question that has torn your family apart for more than 2 decades. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wynn, you say that after your wife's reckless affair and lies, she became pregnant and tried to pass Daniel off as your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Wynn recalls meeting Ms. Tant when they were teenagers, full of hope and dreams. They met at a public pool, fell in love, and built a life together. He wanted one marriage, one family, one future, but life didn't turn out that way. You can hear the disappointment in his voice as he speaks, the weight of decades pressing on every word.
Here today to prove once and for all that you are not the father. You say that you're tired of your ex-wife's lies?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain.
Well, Your Honor, I met this woman and thought, life was going to be great. Marriage one time, kids, same woman. And now I don't feel that was, fulfilled.
Things took a dark turn when Mr. Wynn introduced his wife to an old school friend. At first, it seemed innocent, but soon, that friend was showing up constantly, doing her hair, and getting far too comfortable. Mr. Wynn says he warned them both to stop, but instead, the visits continued, always when he wasn't home. The seeds of betrayal had been planted.
Between the ages of 17 and 18 at a public pool, and continued on to eventually move in together, have children, get married, and proceed on with our life.
So, Miss Tant, were you excited about this new relationship when you met him as well?
I was excited, and it's like he said,
Then comes the moment that shattered everything. Mr. Wynn returns home to find his baby daughter alone in her playpen, his wife nowhere in sight. He goes searching, knocks on the friend's door, and there they are, her red lace panties lying at the foot of the bed, the same ones he bought for her. 26 years later, his voice still shakes as he relives it.
And next thing I know, he's coming over, messing with her hair, supposedly a hairdresser, giving her all the comforts that I should be giving her. And I didn't feel that was right. And I spoke with him and asked him to back off. And I also spoke with my wife at the time and told her, this does not need to continue.
Ms. Tant denies it all. She swears she wasn't there and insists those weren't her panties. But the tension in the courtroom is undeniable. Mr. Wynn is visibly pained, his words sharp but exhausted. Judge Lake listens closely, piecing together a story that still doesn't quite add up. You can feel the emotional tug of war pulling the room apart.
And so then you found out they were sleeping together?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd been told that she wasn't in our apartment that we was living in. We lived in the same complex as this guy. One day when I'd come home, she wasn't home. My daughter was in her playpen by herself in our apartment. And I went and knocked on the door of this gentleman, and he opens the door in a pair of boxers and tells me, your wife ain't here.
Then there's the camping trip, a scene straight out of Heartbreak. Mr. Wynn says they went camping as a family, but the friend tagged along. They all ended up sleeping in the same tent. I woke up, and she was between us, he recalls bitterly. Ms. Tant interrupts. We only had one tent, but the damage was already done. The trust, long gone.
In his apartment, right at his foot of his bed. Your Honor, I was devastated. I was just ready to end it all.
Miss Tant, were you in the apartment with your husband's friend?
No, what?
Were those your red panties on the floor?
No.
We had went camping one weekend. Supposed to be a family outing, me and her, and he wanted to follow along behind. He had a motorcycle.
The confrontation that ended it all came soon after. Mr. Wynn tells Judge Lake he went to the friend's apartment and found Ms. Tant there, wrapped in nothing but a sheet. She doesn't deny it. Yes, I did sleep with him that night, she admits quietly. For a moment, the courtroom is silent. The truth, decades late, still cuts like a knife.
My wife, I want to sleep next to my wife, not another man.
We only have one
Your Honor,
tent.
I wake up the next morning, and what happens? I'm against the side and she's in the middle between us.
You got up and moved in the middle?
Your Honor, she was with that man that night. She had to have been.
So, Mr. Wynn, did you have any other reason to believe that your wife and your friend were sleeping together?
Yes, Your Honor.
6 weeks later, Ms. Tant found out she was pregnant. She tells Judge Lake she was already 3 weeks along when she learned the news, but she never told her husband, not until their son was 2 years old. Mr. Wynn says she called him out of the blue to tell him he had a son. I was joyful, he remembers. I wanted to be a father.
I was going to kick the door in if they didn't open the door, because I knew she was in that apartment. And when she did open the door, she was dressed in nothing but a sheet wrapped around her. No clothing.
You opened the door in a sheet?
Yes, I did. That was also the day that I left him.
She left me and my child, a family, for another man.
And it was due to the arguing and the fussing, and I couldn't put up with it no more.
So,
you're gonna accuse me of doing something?
Mr. Wynn even moved back across states for her. He left Florida, came home to Texas, and tried to build a family again, but the ghosts of doubt followed him. He wanted to believe, but trust can't grow where lies have lived. Judge Lake's expression says it all. This is more than a case. It's two people trapped in the past.
6 weeks. I was 3 weeks pregnant when I found out 6 weeks later.
So, Mr. Wynn, when did you find out about the pregnancy?
Not till after the boy was 2 years old. She contacts me and tells me, we have a son. So, you know, I'm joyful. I have a son. I want to raise my son. I'm going to try to get back together and make a family out of it.
Then comes Daniel's turn to speak. He's now 26, sitting between the parents who've spent his whole life blaming each other. He listens quietly and says, "It's hard to hear. That line alone breaks your heart. Imagine hearing your parents argue over your very existence." The pain in his eyes says more than words ever could.
I've heard it over and over and over.
And that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. When did you become aware of all of this?
Since I was, from the earliest memory, every argument they've ever had always turns into this right here.
And so it would be, really, I want to understand this. Explain to the court, it would just start off as an average.
It would just start out as an average, you know, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, and then it would just blow up very, very fast.
Judge Lake presses both parents. Did either of them ever truly move on? Could there be forgiveness after everything that happened? Both shake their heads. 2.5 decades later, and the wounds are still open. For this family, truth isn't just about biology, it's about closure, the kind that only comes from facing what's real.
I've ran across photos before, and my mother's actually said, she took the photos from me and said no.
Which photos did you run across?
I've ran across photos of the other man.
And Your Honor, I've been asking for years.
And where is that man now?
Little, you know, for a DNA.
He's deceased.
Prove that
he's deceased?
Yes.
Finally, the truth arrives. Judge Lake opens the envelope slowly, her voice calm but heavy. In the case of Tant versus Wynn, she reads, "When it comes to 26-year-old Daniel Whittle, Mr. Wynn, you are not the father." The courtroom freezes. Ms. Tant gasps, tears filling her eyes. Mr. Wynn stares down, silent. Daniel sits motionless, the truth rewriting his life in an instant.
In the case of Tant versus Wynn, when it comes to 26-year-old Daniel Whittle, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Wynn, you are not the father.
This episode kicks off with the tension already rising. We have Ms. Butler, who's 25, in a heated battle with Mr. Wilson, 48, who is adamantly denying the paternity of their 2 daughters, 4-year-old Zaria and 19-month-old Niana. Mr. Wilson claims Ms. Butler was always cheating, sending inappropriate messages, and hooking up with other men during both pregnancies. He's sure these kids are not his. Meanwhile, Ms. Butler is livid, insisting these kids are his, and she's tired of his denials.
Mr. Wilson, you've opened this case to prove you are not the biological father of Ms. Butler's 2 daughters, 4-year-old Zaria and 19-month-old Niana. You claim Ms. Butler had sexual encounters with other men around each pregnancy, and you are certain you did not father either child.
Judge Lake wastes no time getting straight to the heart of the matter. "You're saying these 2 children aren't yours because of her infidelity?" she asks, looking directly at Mr. Wilson. He nods firmly, saying, "She's a habitual liar. She was messing with other guys." Ms. Butler shoots back, "They're yours. I know they are." The back and forth is fast and furious, with both sides digging in their heels. Judge Lake observes it all, clearly taking note. This is going to be a wild ride.
All on the internet, I mean, you know, go to the apartment, everybody talking about who she messing with.
So you say these kids aren't yours?
No, they're not mine. They're not mine, not at all.
And Ms. Butler, you say he's absolutely incorrect.
Yes, these kids is definitely his.
So let me ask you this, because it's right here in my court files.
Ms. Butler, trying to defend herself, says there's no way these kids could be from anyone else. She claims they were always together and definitely not sleeping with anyone else. But Mr. Wilson drops a bombshell. He saw her get out of another man's car while they were together. His face is a mix of anger and disbelief. Ms. Butler immediately defends herself, saying, "It wasn't a relationship, but Mr. Wilson isn't having it. I saw you with him. Don't lie."
Your relationship, and since there are 2 children here and you question paternity relating to both of them, I want to start with one child, and then we'll move on to the next child, so we'll make sure the testimony is understandable, okay? So let's start with Zariah.
The courtroom is on fire with accusations. Mr. Wilson says, I read the messages. She was calling this other guy daddy and sending him naked pics she sent me. Ms. Butler tries to play it off, admitting that yes, she sent some sexy pictures, but that was just a one-time thing. Judge Lake, looking baffled, says, so you sent the same pics to multiple men? Ms. Butler hesitates, then admits, yeah, I did, but not that many. The room just collectively goes whoa.
I was conceived. You thought you all were committed.
I thought so.
But we wasn't living together, so
don't mean
it was
nothing.
kind of different though.
Oh, you can't be in a committed relationship unless you live together?
I mean, I did love him though, I really did, but
No, she didn't.
I did love you, but I just,
I mean, if you love me, you wouldn't have never, called at work with another guy.
The situation gets even wilder when Ms. Butler admits to trying to have sex with another man while she was still with Mr. Wilson. The man didn't finish though, because, as she puts it, we just stopped. Mr. Wilson is stunned. You tried? How can you try to have sex? He asks. Everyone in the courtroom is clutching their pearls. Judge Lake shakes her head in disbelief. I cannot believe you just said that. Ms. Butler's story keeps unraveling, and it's not getting any cleaner.
so we never really fit.
So, Mr. Wilson, how did you even find out Ms. Butler was pregnant with Zariah? Because she's admitting to everything you saying.
Yeah.
So,
well, we were still in close contact, you know, and I thought, like I said, I gave her another chance, and she talking about she wasn't gonna do it no more, and, you know, doing the line like she always do. She a habitual liar, and I thought we was...
Mr. Wilson, clearly hurt, says, how am I supposed to trust you? He recalls the day he found out she was pregnant with Zariah. She said she had missed a period, so he told her to get a pregnancy test. She came back with the news that she was pregnant, but Mr. Wilson says, in the back of my mind, I always knew the baby wasn't mine. Ms. Butler insists, the baby is yours. We were always together, no doubt. The tension in the room is palpable.
Because my
That's
phone,
another situation.
I didn't have my phone around that time.
They got phones at the hospital. They got a way to get in contact. She had called me 3 hours later after the baby was
wait a
born.
minute, you went to the hospital, you were in a relationship, and you went to the hospital and had the baby without even letting them know?
Didn't let me know. The other guy must have been there.
Like I said, I didn't have my phone.
What are you talking about?
Thank you.
When it comes to Zariah's birth, Mr. Wilson says he wasn't even told she was in labor until hours after the fact. I didn't even know you were at the hospital, he says. Ms. Butler defends herself, claiming her phone was lost during labor, so she couldn't reach him. But Mr. Wilson's face says it all. That's a lie. You didn't call me, and you were with the other guy. This whole situation just keeps spiraling. You can practically feel the courtroom sighing in disbelief.
I told her the last name would be Wilson, my last name. So the next day, I go to the hospital because they took the baby to another hospital. Come back here, go back there, the lady gave us our paperwork, it's back Butler. So I asked her, I'm like, how's the baby
Because
Butler?
you've been denying the baby, that's why. So why would her name be your last name?
Judge Lake, trying to piece together the timeline, asks, Ms. Butler, why didn't you let him know when you were at the hospital? Ms. Butler responds, I didn't have my phone, Your Honor. Judge Lake, clearly skeptical, says, really? You didn't have a phone, and no one in the hospital had a phone? The entire courtroom laughs nervously. Even Jerome looks like he's ready to run for cover. This story is way too convenient. You can see Judge Lake trying to hold it together.
Like, really, for real, like.
So if Mr. Wilson is not Zariah's biological father, do you know who is?
No, but
No.
the kids is his though. I'm not thinking that.
You wouldn't have
the
a clue.
kids is his, so there's no other possible
Wouldn't have a
father.
clue.
No, the kids is his.
So if Zariah is not your biological
I'm
child,
gonna be sad because that's a wonderful little child and she shouldn't be put through that.
Now comes the real kicker, the birth certificate. Mr. Wilson says, they asked me for the baby's last name at the hospital, and I said, Wilson. But the next day, when he checked, the baby's last name was Butler. Ms. Butler fires back, you've been denying this baby since day one. That's why her last name isn't Wilson. The courtroom is silent. Judge Lake's face is a mix of disbelief and irritation. What is going on here? This is beyond me.
Or not?
Yeah, she said it. I'm not the daddy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's not crazy.
Zariah?
Yeah, she's not my baby. You better go make some phone calls.
That's crazy.
I've been telling you for 4
he
years.
is not Zariah's biological father.
4 years I've been telling you.
Zariah? That is sad.
Then, Judge Lake presses on. What kind of relationship do you even have with Zaria, Mr. Wilson? Mr. Wilson says, I raised her. She called me daddy, but I knew, in my heart, I'm not the father. He even says, when I saw her eyebrows, I knew she wasn't mine. None of my kids have those thick eyebrows. The courtroom can barely contain its laughter. Eyebrows are now the deciding factor in paternity. Judge Lake looks at him and says, I can't believe I'm hearing this.
Testimony, didn't we, Jerome?
But I did thought both of the kids was yours. Like, we always had sex without no condom. So that's why I don't understand. But Nyana's definitely yours, though.
It's a lottery, ma'am.
No, Nyana's definitely yours.
Let me compose myself because I want to get the information on Nyana because I do want her to know who her biological father is.
Ms. Butler, clearly upset, says, it hurts because you should know these kids are yours. She tries to convince him, I loved you. I still do. We had sex all the time. But Mr. Wilson just shakes his head, saying, you slept with multiple men. How should I know? Judge Lake, looking both exasperated and concerned, tells Ms. Butler, you cannot just keep blaming everyone else. It only takes one time with another man to make a baby. It's a heavy moment, but the facts are staring everyone in the face.
Everybody's running out the house, and I caught a guy over there one time. I knocked on the door. She's trying to hide a dude in the bathroom. Multiple occasions.
There was not no multiple occasions.
guys.
You only seen one thing.
I only seen it one time, but everybody tell me. All apartments.
I'm always in the house. What you talking about?
That's where you do all your nasty stuff in the house.
The DNA test results are in. Judge Lake announces, in the case of Wilson versus Butler, when it comes to 4-year-old Zaria Butler, Mr. Wilson, you are not the father. The courtroom gasps. Mr. Wilson, with an almost smug look, says, told you. Ms. Butler is stunned, her face in disbelief. That's crazy, she says softly. Mr. Wilson just shakes his head. I've been telling you this for 4 years. The weight of it all finally hits, and the silence in the room is deafening.
I'm ready for the results. Because in the case of Wilson versus Butler, when it comes to 4-year-old Zaria Butler, Mr. Wilson, you are not the father.
Told you.
Your case because your last and only way to save your marriage and family is to prove to your husband that he fathered your 3-year-old daughter, Savannah.
Yes, sure.
You admit you've cheated.
It's kinda nice to see a couple trying to save their marriage, even if it's mostly because one of them messed up. They've been together for a while, but Ms. White decided to take a little detour on the Fidelity Highway. And now here they are, in the courtroom, trying to patch things up. Love, drama, and a judge. Just another day in paradise.
3 years.
3 years.
And so she looks to you, you're her father, you're her daddy.
Yep, just the other day she was at my mother's and she woke up and she asked, where's daddy?
And I can see this is just tearing you apart.
And wait, hold up. What's this about an ex-boyfriend showing up at their house? What's an ex even doing sniffing around a married woman's home? That's not a pop-in, that's a pop-off waiting to happen. And the cherry on top? She didn't tell her husband. Nope. He found out from the neighbors, because apparently the grapevine delivers faster than she does.
We got married until February of this year. I've been catching her cheating constantly.
A week after you got married?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. White, have you been cheating?
She did what? This woman couldn't even stay faithful a week after the wedding. And now, every time she and her husband argue, she's speed dialing her ex into the mix? Ma'am, marriage isn't a revolving door of bad decisions and familiar flings. It's no wonder Mr. White's ready to call it quits. Sounds like Judge Lake's about to hand out a reality check with a side of tough love. And honestly, someone needs it.
We didn't even do anything on Valentine's Day. We just sat there and talked. That's all we did on Valentine's Day.
He sends you a picture of his penis and you go over and talk?
Yeah.
Jerome, they must have changed my name.
What exactly is going on here, Ms. White? What are these conversations? Backtracking. She got pregnant just 8 months after they moved in together. No wonder Mr. White's raising an eyebrow. He's not exactly convinced little Savannah is his. I mean, she was probably cheating even before the wedding. If that's the case, why'd they even get married in the first place? Was it love, denial, or did marriage just seem like the aesthetic thing to do?
I saw that there was a 50-50 chance that Savannah wasn't mine.
And how did you get to a place where you decide you're gonna tell him, Miss White?
We got into an argument and...
How does this guy keep letting her back into his life after everything she's pulled? I mean, seriously, the woman has proven what she's capable of. And let's not forget, they tied the knot at 19. 19? That's pretty young to already have a PhD in cheating and manipulation. Ms. White, girl, you've been busy. Now she's pulling out the I have abandonment issues card.
I was more hurt because I done got attached to her. 6 months old, was there for the whole 9 months. I was the one that cut the umbilical cord. I watched her come out. I've been there for all my kids. I work.
This man is a saint. He seems like such a good father, always present throughout her pregnancy and the birth. He goes to work every single day of the week too. Looks like when he's busy busting his back to keep things together. Meanwhile, Ms. White, apparently, the moment he clocks in, she clocks into chaos. She gets lonely and abandoned, so naturally her solution is inviting other men over.
Other reason to believe that your wife cheated other times?
I have text messages proof right here. Valentine's Day, she went to another man's house.
Oh, the audacity of this woman. Does she think she can simply take a time out when she's uncomfortable in her marriage? More so, she decided to go out simply because her husband did not get her anything for Valentine's Day, so no birthday gift. She goes out to cheat. With no good morning, babe, would she go out and cheat too? It's crazy the amount of men this woman has probably cheated on her husband with as it is.
Says, my body's naked, wishing you was in this bed with me. The ex-boyfriend texts back, LOL, you are crazy, about to call you in a minute. Your wife says, LMAO.
Whoa. Wish you were in bed with me is an absolutely crazy thing to say to your ex-boyfriend as a married woman with 3 kids and 1 on the way. Why exactly did this woman get married in the first place? Seeing as her abandonment issues are getting her to cheat now, that's probably what caused her to get married then. That's not the only man too. She was cheating with a whole bunch of them. Oh well, let's just get right to it.
Text.
Because he doesn't show me anything.
Always with the
He's
pivot.
not there for
Always
me.
pivoting, you're trying to put it off on me. How you expect me to treat you the way you want to be treated when you're sitting here sexting other people?
Are her father. Autry, you say the defendant is taking advantage of your son by pinning a baby on him, and you have physical proof that her 2-year-old daughter, Skyla, is not.
At first, it seemed like this case might go smoothly, nothing too wild. But then Ms. Martin dropped the monster-in-law bomb, and yeah, that definitely changed the vibe. That's a pretty bold nickname for someone who's supposed to be like a second mom. Mrs. Autry came ready, with receipts and all, to back up her claims. So yeah, looks like this might not be as calm as we thought. Let's see where this goes.
Well, she entrapped my son by marrying him, by giving him things like money, clothes, car, you name it, she give it to him. And she just want a man to call uncle, she ain't no.
Oh wow, things are heating up way faster than expected. So the whole case kicked off because Ms. Martin gave Mrs. Autry's son some gifts? Seriously? Mrs. Autry is convinced it's a trap, like Ms. Martin is out here laying relationship booby traps with presents. And sure, it's fair for a mom to be protective, but maybe, just maybe, her son doesn't mind being entrapped by Ms. Martin.
She says you entrapped her son. Did you do that?
No.
Were you buying him cars and all these things, giving him money and all of this?
He did the same for me in return.
There's definitely more going on here than just a few exchanged gifts. Ms. Martin says it was all mutual, just 2 people showing each other some love and appreciation. Sounds harmless, right? But Mrs. Autry clearly isn't buying it. At this point, it's starting to feel less like a legal case and more like a tug of war over who gets to call the shots in this man's life. Is Mrs. Autry just being an overprotective mom who doesn't trust any woman around her son?
That's your, oh, yes, your husband.
My husband.
So he's still your husband?
Get married
Yes,
to
ma'am.
you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because I got a phone call, so I was getting married down to my house, so I was on my way walking down there to start the marriage to my friend. That's why I was.
Oh, hold up. Plot twist. The man in question isn't just a boyfriend. He's Ms. Martin's husband. That changes everything. So now the question is, why is Mrs. Autry still so worked up? She even tried to stop the wedding? That's next level mama drama. At this point, it's less about protecting her son and more like she's battling for control of the entire relationship. Something is definitely off between these 2 women.
Married down the street from my house. So I got out of my bed and I started walking down the street to where she was getting married at. A friend seen me walking and she offered me a ride.
How did you find out she was getting married?
Someone called me and told me.
Your son didn't tell you?
No, he didn't.
The fact that the groom didn't even tell his own mother about the wedding? That's wild. Someone clearly had to tip her off, probably one of those informants planted in the background. And then having to change locations just to finish the ceremony? That's not a wedding, that's an escape plan. This case is beginning to give the courtroom a show of perfect drama.
Morton, it's just that she has been very disrespectful from day one.
Same way. I mean, what do you want me to do? You disrespect me all the time.
Well, you came into my home and disrespected me.
The courtroom right now feels more like a ping pong match, with words flying back and forth and no one letting the other get a full sentence in. It's loud, it's messy, and definitely not the kind of dialogue Judge Lake signed up for. Pointing fingers about who disrespected who first isn't helping either. It's like arguing over who lit the match in the middle of a fire. At this rate, the case might need less legal advice and more conflict resolution therapy. Total chaos.
Don't cross over.
Look at they don't left over like this.
Look at the right foot.
That little right foot is kind of hedging over though.
Yes, exactly.
But it ain't all the way over there. That's not
exactly.
It's got to be fully crossed.
Yes.
Like seriously, crossing toes? That's the grand proof she's banking on to say the child isn't her granddaughter? That's a stretch if we've ever seen one. At this point, it's giving "I just don't like Ms. Martin" energy, and everything else is just background noise. From the wedding drama to the courtroom shade, it's pretty clear there's been tension from the start. But hey, whether it's crossed toes or crossed boundaries, only the DNA results can bring real clarity.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Martin or Mr. Gott, father of 2-year-old Skyla Martin, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is...
And boom, after all the chaos, the DNA results have landed, and Mr. Martin is the biological father. So, case closed on that front. Now would be the perfect time for the self-titled DNA queen to take off her crown of suspicion and pick up her grandma's slippers. Maybe this is her moment to level up from monster-in-law to mentor-in-love and give peace a real shot.
I need your help. Can I get an apology?
No. I do apologize to Skylar, but not to her.
I'll accept that.
And I
It's
will
all about
accept
Skylar
Skylar
at the end of
into
the
my
day.
house.
At the end of mother, so you say your marriage depends on today's paternity results after your wife announced that the child she is currently pregnant with may not be yours.
Today's case hits hard. Mr. Keisel is here trying to save his marriage after his wife dropped the bomb. She's pregnant and says the baby isn't his. That's rough. If she wanted the marriage, why cheat and claim the child is someone else's? Hopefully, the DNA results either bring some healing, or at least some clarity, because this one's deep.
Into a relationship. We had been dating on and off, but it was back and forth with my ex and him. We both have broke up a couple times over while we were dating.
What would make a newlywed cheat just 1 month into marriage? It really makes you question if love or real commitment was ever there, or if it was just a rushed decision wrapped in excitement. Marriage isn't something to dive into for the thrill of it. Owning up to the mistake is a start, but the damage is done, and now they both have to face the consequences. Hopefully the DNA results help.
We had been trying for a while, and she was in the bathroom. She walked out crying and told me she was pregnant, and I asked why she was crying, and she told me that there's a...
This case is layered with heartbreak. After struggling to conceive, the couple finally gets the news they've been hoping for: pregnancy. But the joy is short-lived, overshadowed by the painful possibility that the baby might not be the husband's. It's a tough blow when what should be a moment of celebration turns into deep uncertainty.
Conception day, April 1st. At my first, it wasn't really a doctor appointment. I had started spotting. So we went to the emergency room to confirm that I was even pregnant because we just had a home test done. So April 1st, I went to the emergency.
Mr. Keisel is clearly holding on to hope that the baby is his, and understandably so. It's a good sign that the conception window lines up with the time they were intimate. It gives him something to hold on to. But the complication is real. There was another man in the picture during that same window, so as much as the timing gives Mr. Keisel hope, it also leaves just enough uncertainty to make the DNA results absolutely necessary.
Have a nose that looks a lot alike. Mine goes down and then bubbles at the end, and with the ultrasounds that we had, the child had the same kind of nose.
You believe by looking at this ultrasound.
Totally. Just because a baby looks like someone doesn't mean they're 100% the parent. Genetics can be super weird. Sometimes kids come out looking like an uncle, grandparent, or no one at all. That's why trying to guess based on looks alone can get messy real fast. Good thing we've got DNA tests to settle it once and for all. No need to squint at baby pictures and play detective.
It happens in about 1 in 1,000 live births in the US, so it's a fairly common birth defect. 1/4 of those have a family history of someone in their family.
Nice! Judge Lakes bringing in a doctor to school everyone on genetics is a smart move. Understanding how traits get passed down helps clear up some of the mystery and gives Mr. Keisel a bit more hope that he could be the dad. It's like science stepping in to cut through all the drama. Definitely a solid step forward in this case.
And the possibilities. I want this child more than anything. We had been trying for a child and we finally got it. I missed one appointment due to work, and that's all I've missed, and I've been here every step of the way in this.
Mr. Keisel clearly wants to be in this child's life. He's been there, supportive, and even owned up to missing an appointment with a sincere apology. That shows commitment. But the real question is whether Mrs. Keisel is ready to save the marriage or if she's still tempted to keep seeing her ex. At the end of the day, the DNA results will tell the full story.
Keisel, when it comes to the child Mrs. Keisel is currently carrying, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Keisel.
With a case this tangled, it's no surprise a more advanced DNA test was needed, and thankfully, it delivered the clarity everyone hoped for. Mr. Keisel is officially the baby's biological father. That's the win he's been fighting for, and the joy on his face says it all. It's not just about proving paternity, it's about holding on to family. A much-needed happy ending in court today.
And I know those are tears of joy. And I can imagine you have cried the other kinds of tears up until this point. And that's why I believe the truth is so special and so important. Is who is your dad? You've dragged the defendant to court to prove he is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Robinson, you claim that you've always known you are.
Ms. Muller's childhood was seriously rough, like really painful, but she didn't let that define her. She joined the military, got married, and seems to be living her best life now. Still, there's one big piece missing. She wants to know who her real dad is. So, she dragged Mr. Robinson, the defendant, into court, demanding proof that he's her biological father.
Being raised by myself and the people that I was in foster care with. So I was a little troubled child, but as I grew older, I told myself I didn't want to be like that. So I graduated from high school with an honors diploma. I joined the Army. I went and served my country overseas.
There's just something so inspiring about this woman. But here's where it gets interesting. Mr. Robinson admits he's known all along that he's not her real father. In fact, he says he pretended to be, just to keep her from getting hurt. So, what started as a search for truth turned into this tangled, emotional mess about family, protection, and secrets. This case is something.
Your Honor, when I was getting deployed to Iraq, I wanted my family there. I took the time out to call Mr. Robinson, asked him to be there for me. You know, I'm getting ready to deploy. Can you come up to the unit? His answer was, I'm busy. And he lived in the same city.
Ouch! That must have stung like a punch to the gut. Mr. Robinson claims he's always been there for Ms. Muller, even while secretly doubting he was actually her real dad. But Ms. Muller isn't having any of it. She fires back hard, saying that when she needed a place to crash or some cash to keep her own place afloat, Mr. Robinson just flat out turned her down.
Honor, even at a point, I was in Oregon at one point, and I was in this abusive relationship. And the last person I wanted to call was Mr. Robinson, but I had no other choice. I called him and
that kind of rejection definitely leaves some scars. But here's where it gets even more complicated. What exactly are the doubts Mr. Robinson has about being her dad? I mean, if he was so unsure all along, why keep up the act? And how does that uncertainty affect their relationship now? It's clear this whole thing isn't just about biology. It's tangled up in emotions and trust issues.
Stan, why do you have doubt? Were you having sex with her mother during the window of conception?
Yes, I was, but...
Okay, now, do you have any notion, idea, belief, or proof that her mother was also...
Looks like Mr. Robinson's case is already on shaky ground if he's trying to prove that Ms. Muller isn't his biological daughter. Honestly, he doesn't really have solid reasons to doubt it. His doubts just don't hold much weight, and that's going to be a problem for him in court. To make things even more interesting, Ms. Muller's mom, Ms. Cobbs, is here today too. and she's got quite a bit to say about the whole situation.
Time for them to go.
He's a bald-faced lie. How if you come up in your house and see another man up in there, you gonna be that calm? When I'm committed, I'm committed. I don't do no outside dipping and dapping. Boy, it's him talking about being a...
Mr. Robinson, he's been nothing short of a model father. At least that's his version of the story. He says he signed Ms. Muller's birth certificate and even took her in to live with him when she was just 9 years old. But here's the thing. Despite doing all that, he claims he still had doubts about being her biological father. Miss Cobbs is not having it, and she says those doubts make no sense.
I was at school and the principal came to my classroom. She told me it was someone here that wanted to meet me. She brought me down to the office and I remember seeing Mr. Robinson standing there and they told me that was my
Talk about mixed signals. Why bring her home just to be abused? Mr. Robinson has been doing this since she was in foster care. He gave her such high hopes, then dashed everything to the ground in a heartbeat. It's evident that she never got over these experiences in her childhood. These experiences have become trauma as it is. Hearing about them alone is something, talk less of being in the middle of the mess.
In a hard way how a man is supposed to treat me. I might have been a tough child, but I didn't need you to throw me away. You put me back in foster care.
You chose to go back foster.
No, I chose to go live with my mom.
Right.
Oh boy, the temperature of the courtroom has gone up by a few degrees. This is why paternity court is so important. It's so easy to lose sight of how important it is that a child knows and identifies with their biological father. Almost 30 years later, Ms. Muller is still living a lie. To cut all of the drama short, the results are in and it's time to put an end to the lies. Here are the results.
Are her father.
What? Bam! Bam! That's what I'm talking about.
You are the father, sir.
See, I'm trying to discredit me.
I always tried to be that for her.
I love you.
Yes, ma'am.
You state you've brought your ex-husband, Mr. Green, to court to prove he is the biological father of your 9-month-old son, Lawrence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Though you freely admit to sleeping with multiple men during the time of conception, you say,
Dragging your ex-husband to court to prove he's the father, after freely admitting you were with multiple men during your conception window, is bold, to say the least. It's no surprise he's denying the child. Anyone would be skeptical given the circumstances. When serial cheating enters the chat, so does serious doubt. But that's what paternity court is for.
That she had been with somebody in February, right before she had sex
Yes,
with
Your
me
Honor.
also.
I was supposed to have been in a relationship, which he left me, which he did the same thing.
Sounds like another emotional roller coaster in Judge Lake's courtroom. Ms. Bailey says the marriage lasted only 6 months, and even called it a fast one, which probably means it moved too quickly without real foundation. But if it was that rushed and unstable, why stay in it just to end up hurting each other? Now there's a child caught in the middle who deserves clarity, love, and stability, not courtroom chaos.
Right. We got a divorce March 25th, and we was together April the 1st.
No, we wasn't, Your Honor.
All right, I even went to Albany with him over his family.
So the bottom line is,
Exactly. This is the definition of messy. Divorce was supposed to mean closure, but clearly these two left the door wide open. Instead of moving on, they kept crossing boundaries. And to top it all off, Ms. Bailey was also with 2 other men during her conception window. Now there's confusion, frustration, and a child whose paternity is uncertain.
Respond.
It ain't mine. It can't be mine. Like, she moved to Alabama. Like, sex can't go on from Georgia to Alabama. And she, like I said, she already had admitted.
The fact that they were still being intimate during the pregnancy, even after the divorce, just adds more layers of confusion. Ms. Bailey says it was regular. Mr. Green says she vanished. One of them is definitely stretching the truth, or maybe both are just lost in their version of it. Well, it's all up to the DNA results to bring some sanity back to this chaos.
No buy into the fact that this was my child, so she sent me a picture. He had red hair. He's like almost white. He like,
and he still do. And he still do.
Hey, look, I did some research.
Little boy.
This case just took a sharp turn into Comedy Central. Mr. Green is really out here playing DNA detective and stand-up comic at the same time. The red hair comment had the courtroom on edge. Mr. Green is convinced there's no way that baby could be his. He's got questions, doubts, and clearly no interest in raising a baby he believes popped out of someone else's gene pool.
I knew what I was getting into. I knew I was ovulating. I knew what we was going to lead to, but I figured since I never did get pregnant between the 3 years we was together, that I wouldn't get pregnant then.
Ms. Bailey came prepared, calendar, claims, and all. She and Mr. Green both agree the baby wasn't conceived during their marriage, so why is he still in court? Tracking ovulation is smart, but only DNA tells the truth. If her timeline doesn't match the science, that whole plan might just fall apart. Well, this would be the icing for Mr. Green's cake.
We got into a relationship. First of all, he was already with a woman, okay? He broke up with her to be with me, and then when Thanksgiving came along, he told me he was staying with his sister. So he asked me to spend a weekend with him, which I did.
It can be really emotional seeing people break down in court, but honestly, to be fair, there might not even be a good reason for her to be sobbing right now. She had all of this planned out. She probably just fell for the wrong person, and that's led her to make some pretty bad choices. Mr. Green most likely messed with her head, maybe even emotionally blackmailed her.
Versus Green pertaining to 9-month-old Lawrence Bailey. Mr. Green, you are Lawrence's father.
After all the back and forth, and finally getting Mr. Green to realize he needs to treat Ms. Bailey better, not to mention him blurting out that she tried to trap him, the results are out, and boom, Mr. Green is baby Lawrence's father. Looks like Ms. Bailey's plan actually worked. She pulled it off. Now Mr. Green has nowhere to run. Is he really trapped though?
Good to your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do the right thing.
She know I will.
Now this court does have resources for you. We're gonna offer those resources so you can maybe start sorting through and figure out how to.
Ms. Vargas was married. He initially told you that you were not the father of her 11-month-old son, but then dropped the bomb that the child was indeed yours.
Today in paternity court, two lovers are on the stand. The court is trying to figure out if Ms. Vargas's baby belongs to her husband or Mr. Angelaire. They definitely weren't actually a couple. Ms. Vargas was going through a tough time in her marriage and leaned on Mr. Angelaire for support during that rough patch. Mr. Angelaire claims he was just being there for her while things were shaky with her husband.
Do you immediately think it was your exes, or do you think it was Mr.
To work things out with my husband, Your Honor. I wanted to do
you
it for him.
You gotta face reality.
This woman cheated on her husband and now won't admit the baby belongs to her side piece. Mr. Angelaire had an affair with a married woman and is convinced he's the baby daddy. Meanwhile, Ms. Vargas insists he can't be the father, and that totally ticked off Judge Lake. Mr. Angelaire made all this clear in court, saying that they had an affair, and he is positive that this baby is his.
One night, we ended up back at my place. We went to the house, started doing our thing.
Our thing.
Yeah.
That night when we, had sexual intercourse, you planned to get me pregnant. I feel like you did.
Oh, no.
I realize that you may hear some things, intense emotion.
Well, isn't that just heartwarming? You'd almost think they were starring in a rom-com with the way they talked about each other. But plot twist. When Ms. Vargas found out she was pregnant, she was all, "Yep, you're the dad, Mr. Angelaire." Oops. Then things took a sharp U-turn when she decided she wanted to patch things up with her husband. Suddenly, her whole story did a 180.
So when you first found out you were pregnant, Ms. Vargas, did you call Mr. Angelaire?
I first did.
Then you decided I want to try to work this out with so you tell your husband that.
He was willing to take over responsibility even if it wasn't his.
Looks like Ms. Vargas's plan to fix things with her husband totally backfired, and not just a little. While she was busy trying to mend her marriage, she asked Mr. Angelaire for some space and time to figure things out. But here's the kicker. No matter what, Mr. Angelaire just couldn't get the idea of being the baby's dad out of his head. Can you imagine that? Drama, drama, drama.
You asked him to give you some space because you're trying to work this out with your husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
I moved away. September-ish is when I contacted her husband and her, saying, reality, whether you dislike me, whether you like me, you need to let me know if this is my child when the kid is born. She never told me when he was born. I heard from people around town.
The father.
I didn't want to have another kid.
I didn't want to have another kid.
Well, there we go.
They've got a point. The baby definitely deserves to know who's dad and who's mom. Even though both of them agreed to do right by little Woody, Mr. Angelaire still couldn't shake the feeling that Ms. Vargas was playing shady games with both him and her husband. And here's why he felt that way. She kept on playing with both of them. One day he's the father, and the next day he's not.
The first few months, she's telling me I'm the dad. Then I end up getting a job up north. She told me, well, I want to try to work things out with or have anything happen with my children. I said, well, I can. One of my friends that lived down in the same area told me, oh, she's getting big. She's ready to pop. No, I didn't hear nothing. I moved to Washington. She contacts me on Facebook, 6.5 months old. Tells me, hey, my husband left. I don't have no more money. You got a kid here now.
Really?
To me, why did she lie?
You were the one asking me if I'm
because
like I'm the dad.
You told me, well, you have a child here now.
If there is anything these guys are good at doing, trust me, it's arguing. Now, Mr. Angelaire felt the only reason Ms. Vargas was coming back to him was because things didn't work out for her and her husband. But more importantly, he believed she didn't want her kid growing up without a dad in the picture. So, in his mind, She was using him as a fallback plan, kind of like the Plan B dad.
But I also see where she's coming from because she wants her son. And if he is my son, I want to be his father. I want to be involved in his life.
And I want you to be in because I want him to be there for him.
And if I'm his father, I will be there for him. But maybe get some money out of me. I have some evidence.
Absolutely, sir. What do you have?
Stating after I told her I couldn't give any money.
There's definitely something fishy about her story. First, she's all about making Mr. Angileri the dad, and then suddenly she's threatening to slap him with a restraining order? Come on, Ms. Vargas, pick a lane. Something just doesn't add up here. Luckily, Mr. Angileri came prepared with some evidence to back up his claim, and here's what he brought to court.
These are messages that say, I need you to give away your rights and never come around. I will put a restraining order on you. What had he done to warrant a restraining order?
Nothing, Your Honor.
So this is just angry.
Make excuses saying, oh, I can't send you money. One time did at Walmart for him to send the money and he never called.
So now,
I had a seizure. I was in the hospital.
husband, you said, look, give me some space. I want to try to work this out.
Yes, Your Honor.
One big reason Ms. Vargas suddenly changed her tune was because she claimed that as the baby got older, he started to look more and more like Mr. Angileri. You know, the classic resemblance card sort of thing. But here's the question. Did Mr. Angileri actually feel the same way about the kid? Was he convinced by the resemblance? Or did he have doubts of his own? Let's cut to the results.
Mr. Angileri, you are the father.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all I've wanted. Like you said, everybody makes mistakes, but it's all about how you. He now has a mom and a dad.